Nation Live season finale show. I'm your host, James Owen.
I'm Sanders Tisdale.
So, folks, obviously, we're going to talk about the horrific ending to the 2024-2025 season. We're going to talk about what's in the future for the Pittsburgh Steelers. A lot to talk about. We'll get it going right back after this commercial break. Welcome back to Steel Nation Live. I'm your host, James O, with my sidekick here, Sanders Tisdale. Season finale, folks. It's heartbreaking. You know, this is when we got to call the season. It's done. It's over. We didn't want to go out like this, like we've been going out the past 7-8 years, one and done in the playoffs. We didn't actually back into the playoffs. We made the playoffs when we were winning games. But folks, if you're keeping score at home, keeping records, the last time the Pittsburgh Steelers had a victory was December 8th against the Cleveland Browns. So that was the last victory we had, and it was all downhill from there. The wheels fell off the car, and now all the finger pointing starts, right? So what we're going to talk about tonight in the show, like who's going to stay, who's going to go, who should stay. A little hint at the upcoming draft for the Pittsburgh Steelers this year. And we got to do it right, man. We can't just draft players and just hope, you know what I mean, and plug and play these guys. We have to get the players, the right players, and that leads we have to get the right coaches. You know, the knee-jerk reaction and, you know, the instant anger takes over you and you lose your mind and you don't think straight and you want to fire everybody. And in this case, everybody needs to go. And but here's who's not going to go, and this is 100% right now. You watch the Steel Nation Live here, folks. Mike Tomlin is not going anywhere, okay? And that's because there's really nobody can replace him. And you're like saying, well, there's a lot of coaches out there that lose, you know? Mm-hmm. And we don't want another coach that's going to lose all these games. So we all know the basic saying is that, you know, shit rolls downhill, correct? So everybody below Tomlin, right, needs to go. There's one guy that should stay, and it's Danny Smith, that's special teams coach, and he's doing and has done a remarkable job this season with the Pittsburgh Steelers special teams. We have Boswell, you know, the Wizard of Boz. It was amazing. The punting team, the kicking team, everything phenomenal. It was just a great overall performance by the special teams. But when you look at the overall situation offensively, we'll start with offense and then we'll work our way to the defense. We had two different offensive coordinators, right? Come in totally different, you know, outlooks of how they want to run the offense, but same results. The only difference is that Matt Canada had that stupid jet sweep and Arthur Smith's got that stupid pitch, whatever that. Both plays don't work. Yeah. Didn't work. They continue to run these plays. And the big thing about it is the people in charge, the coaches, don't put the right players in at the right times in the right positions. We drafted number one tackle, left tackle. He's playing right tackle. We got a right tackle playing left tackle. These two guys combined this season gave up over 24 sacks to our quarterbacks. Just those two players alone. Out of position. These guys don't know what they're doing when they're lining up. They don't get any push to, you know, create holes for our running backs. It doesn't matter who we have back there. We could have Tony Dorsett. We could have Franco Harris. We could have Barry freaking Sanders back there, right? And look at the offensive line. Remember Barry Sanders, what he had? Nothing to work on. Yeah. And this is what they expect Najee Harris to do. And Najee Harris is a power back. And they pitch the ball to a power back, and they hand off the ball up the middle to the finesse running back, Jalen Warren. Don't use Cordell Patterson. Don't use Darnell Washington, our draft pick tight end, who's a beast. We talked about this earlier. None of these players are ever put into the game when they should be put in the plays. It starts with the offensive line as well. Offensive line coach needs to go. I mean, it just falls apart right now. They're not putting the players in the right times, the right positions, the right plays. And when they put these players in, they're not even executing. Okay. So, and I was watching, everybody watches these videos and everybody watches, like sports reporters and stuff. And somebody, I can't remember because I watched so many of them, right? So the lack of anger from the Pittsburgh Steelers players, okay? The lack of anger. It's mind-boggling. You know what I mean?
Oh, yeah.
When you go out there and you put that product out there and it's just like, like you don't care. And I hate to think that these Steeler players don't care. I know they do. They have to care. But come on, man, show some emotion. And that's another thing that lacked in the locker room. Start a little pointing the fingers. Pickens, he's a head case, and this, that, and the other, and it starts to fall apart. There's no identity. There's no teamwork. There's no camaraderie. It's just like, oh well, another loss, but we're in the playoffs. And then whether you want to or not, or whether you believe it or you think it, you take that philosophy in with you. We're the Pittsburgh Steelers. We win. We have 6 Super Bowl trophies. We're gonna get one. Don't worry about it. It's just a bad slide, right? And you don't change.
Yeah.
You don't change, and you take the same thing from loss 1, 5 straight losses, including the playoff loss, right? No emotion, nothing.
Yeah, I mean, and a lot of people don't understand it. That's a lot of the issue with the Pittsburgh Steelers. They didn't show emotion at the worst times. And when we say the worst times, I mean the times when the Steelers needed it most. They needed a leader to help them get through this, and they didn't get that from Tomlin. So a lot of that is what was going on with the Pittsburgh Steelers, and a lot of us have to accept that. I was I love Tomlin. I loved what he was doing. Then all of a sudden, I had to take a good look at it and say, you know what? It's not correct. It's not correct. I mean, the way things are going, I didn't like some of the decisions Tomlin was making as of late. And you're talking to a guy who's a strong, stringent, supporter of Mike Tomlin. And James, it came to a point to where I had to question myself and say, well, should I still be? And a lot of things now we see with the Pittsburgh Steelers, unfortunate play for the Pittsburgh Steelers. Remember the pass out to the tight end Freiermuth, short by inches. And instead of, trying to give his guys and say, you know what, you my guys, let's try to do this thing. What do we do? Pittsburgh Steelers punt it. 4th and inches, we punt it.
But to go for it on 4th and 15.
Yeah, so we go for it on 4th and 15, but you punt on 4th and inches. And I agree with a lot of guys out there. Carl, you know what? You're right. The Steelers are a complete mess right now. And I just have to accept it. That's what it is. And that's what they are. And we just got to learn to live with it and try to move forward. But the thing with Tomlin right now, not knowing if he's going to go, he's going to stay. I don't know what the answer is for Pittsburgh right now, James. And there's a lot of people out there who want to know answers.
Well, here's the answer. And I'm telling you right now, Tomlin is not going anywhere. He may after his 3-year extension, but what makes me think this even more, back in the Bill Cowher days when he was starting to decline, and then the Rooneys didn't give up on him, really didn't give up on him, obviously, and he turned it around. He won his Super Bowl, and that's when he knew timing is everything, right? So he knew what was ahead of him, and he knew what was going on. So he bowed out, gracefully with a Super Bowl victory under his belt. Jerome Bettis had his Super Bowl victory under the belt. And, it's time to part ways. It's unfortunate. Like Chuck Noll, right? Great. One of the greatest coaches in NFL history, won 4 Super Bowls. Okay. And after a while, it was time. Timing is everything, right? And so nobody wanted Chuck Noll to leave either, but he had to leave. And who are we going to replace him with, right? There's nobody that can replace Chuck Noll, right? And here comes this powerhouse linebacker from Cleveland, used to coach everything, Bill Cowher. He comes in with that chin, and he turns that organization around, and he continues to take the players from Chuck Noll, and he starts through the draft, creating his own, I don't want to say dynasty, but his own powerhouse of a football team. And a lot of free agents we got back in the day. Kevin Green, phenomenal. You go to our website, www.steelnationlive.net, and you can check out all our past interviews with former Steeler players. And just taking the reign and going. There's going to be good days and bad days. It's the NFL, right? So, and we didn't want to see Bill Cowher go because we built that relationship with him, right? And it was time he had to go. But who are we going to replace Bill Cowher with now? In comes Mike Tomlin, secondary coach from the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, already has a Super Bowl under his belt being a defensive backs coach. He comes and nearly kills the team, right? But he made the team respectable and didn't have a losing season. One of the few, I think, few coaches in NFL history. The other guys, Lombardi and I can't think of the other head coach who's in the Hall of Fame who have no losing seasons. I mean, that's remarkable thing to do. But right now, you got to do a little bit more, right?
Yeah.
So you got to take this one and done philosophy and you got to energize this team. And going into the playoffs, you don't want to go on a losing record. But I'll tell you what, the last time the Pittsburgh Steelers were a 6 seed team, we went and won the Super Bowl, right?
Yeah.
So going through all that, all the turmoil and tribulations that the Pittsburgh Steelers want, they pushed on and they got the trophy, right? So Mike Tomlin comes in, and how can you get rid of this guy? I mean, he's at the tip, right? He's already got a Super Bowl. So he's at the point where winning records all the time, but he's not getting to the finish line, right? I blame that on the other coaches. You can tell your coaches what you want. And if they don't implement those plays, if they don't put the right players in, you're going to get what you get, a loss. And it proved, overwhelmingly that the offensive coordinator that we picked, he was let go by the Atlanta Falcons for a reason. He was a head coach there. So you would assume that a head coach of a football team could come in and run an offense if they are used to running a whole team. He came in, and we thought Matt Canada, thank God he's gone. Now we got this head coach, former head coach, offensive-minded coach. He's got all these hopes and aspirations. Here's what he's going to do. He's going to turn this offense around. It's just like Scooby-Doo. You pull the mask off, and it's Matt Canada. It's got to be because, like I said, the only two difference between those two coaches was one had a jet sweep and one had that stupid pitch, and all the same results. I can't tell you how many 3-and-outs that Pittsburgh Steelers had. It's unfathomable that you have these guys running. They're just standing there. They're not running anything, but the offense, the team into the ground. But you have the same results. At what point, Sanders, are you going to look yourself in the mirror and say, hey, what we're doing isn't working? You can't keep on trying to knock the round peg into a square hole. And, if I keep on hammering, it's going to work. It's not.
Yeah. Well, you know what? I want to go, before we go further, I want to read off some of the things on the board. Let me see. Steve Petrosky says Mike Tomlin is outdated. It's time for a new coach. Time for a new GM. I disagree with you on the GM thing, but rebuild for a year. Agreed. Get rid of the cancers. Agreed. Your last 6 games
were pathetic. Yes, absolutely.
Agreed. And the reason I say I agree with I disagree with the GM part was the GM because of the fact that the GM for the Pittsburgh Steelers, he's done things that our normal GMs that Pittsburgh Steelers used to have never would do before. And this guy reached out and did that and made a change for the Pittsburgh Steelers. And I gotta say, I totally agree with the way he did things. And you know what? I thought it was a pleasant thing to see, a change for the Pittsburgh Steelers, to have a guy that's going to go out there and reach and try to get these top guys out there for the Pittsburgh Steelers. Even if it worked out or it didn't, or it did, this guy reached and did a far reach and tried to get these guys in there. Did it work out? I agree on some aspects. Maybe some did a certain aspect, some didn't. But this guy did a reach for everything. But I agree with the whole everything else. It needs to be a rebuilding year. Get rid of the cancers, and a lot of other things need to go on. But you know what, guys? You know what? Like I said, we had a lot of guys that did call on this show, and I'm going to bring a couple guys on, that stopped by the show today. Let me get Tomlin out of there at the moment. See if I can get Tomlin out of there. Where you at, Tomlin? We'll talk about you later. So right now we got on the board. We got here we got. He stepped out. So we'll be back with him. Yeah. So that was gonna be our
Cincy Joe.
Cincy Joe. So Cincy Joe's up there. He's waiting because I gave him a time to call in. So he's trying to get on the board with us now. But and he did right on the board. He said you'll never find a better coach than Tomlin, but the Steelers need a new play system. They need to change the identity of just being known for defense. And I agree with that.
Well, here's the deal on that. You show me the defense. The Pittsburgh Steelers had no defense. And you're like, well, we won how many games? 10 games, right? How did we win those 10 games? We didn't win it off defense alone. We won them on splash plays and creating turnovers. That's it. There was no solid defensive scheme. Terrell Austin needs to go. And we talked about, me and Sanders talked about this before the show. And, I hate to compare to Dick LeBeau. Dick LeBeau, one of the greatest strategic defensive coordinators in the NFL in history, right? So how was he so prolific, and how did he run such a great defense for the Pittsburgh Steelers? He masked the defense. He didn't let the offense know what he was doing, what kind of coverage he was throwing at him. Terrell Austin is just basically handing the defensive playbook to the opposing teams. Just like these guys saying, oh, yeah, we knew what the offense was going to do. And I'll give another example. In the Pittsburgh Steelers, if you watch it, and you watch the defense, how they line up defensively, a lot of offenses will run guys, okay? They'll motion guys. And when the Pittsburgh Steelers defense don't counter the motion, automatically it's a safety high zone. Simple. And what they do is they audible the play. They tell the receivers, go into the soft zone, find a hole, I'm going to get you the ball. How many games have we watched, Steeler fans, where the guy is wide open, the tight end's wide open, a guy coming across the middle, nobody covering him? Why? Because they're in a zone, and the offense knows it. They audible the play, and they throw it to the open receiver. And why can't we do this? We have to get, and just like I said, folks, beginning of the show, we gotta alter everything. These coaches got to go no knee-jerk reaction to fire everybody, but you get the same results, and it shows. Record shows, Sanders.
Yeah. Yeah, you know what? Let me get on the board. I love this name, Andre Green. He said, "I always remember how things were at the end of the Bill Cowher era, and now things in the Mike Tomlin era, where we are. Here we go again. My question is, where does this franchise go from here?" And I mean, it's a legitimate question.
And here's the answer. Here's the answer. You have to hire offensive coordinators. You have to hire coordinators who can do their job. Who they say, look, Mike, this is how I'm running the offense. Okay, let me show you what's going to work, what's not going to work. And then let me run the offense. Let me call the plays. Hey, Mike, I'm going to put these players in who I know are going to execute the plays that I'm calling. You cannot put players in plays that are not going to execute, who don't know the plays. Look at the last 5 games. All right, folks, I implore you to watch the highlights of the offensive line, the confusion, the total utter confusion of nobody knowing who to block. And what are you going to do if you're a running back? I mean, like I said, we don't have Barry Sanders back there running all over the field. They get 10 yards, you run 90 to get 10 yards. Those days are over. And most of Najee Harris's yards are after the first hit. And he usually doesn't get hit until he lines up gets in with the linebackers, right? You can't keep on playing these games. You're not utilizing your tight ends. Darnell Washington, a beast, a solid beast. This guy can catch the ball, run routes. Good luck trying to tackle him if he gets past the linebackers in the secondary. Good luck with this guy. Freiermuth, he's dropping passes because he doesn't get the ball enough. You have to implement these guys. And if you go back to the wins and how the Pittsburgh Steelers offensively achieved these wins, you could see how the tight ends were implemented in these games. Play action. And another thing that the Pittsburgh Steelers were very, very good at, Ben Roethlisberger did it all the time, the hurry-up offense. I mean, we don't see that. And just like I said, I keep on comparing Arthur Smith to Matt Canada. Two different coaching aspects, and they come out with the same results. What does that tell you? It tells you that you need to get coaches in there who know what they're doing. And Arthur Smith probably won't be with the Pittsburgh Steelers this upcoming season, next year, whatever you want to say, because he's pretty sure that he's going to take that head coaching job in New York. Good luck there, pal. We need an offensive coordinator and a defensive coordinator who know how to do their jobs. And right now, if you don't know your job, you don't know who to put the players in, when and why, this is the results you're going to get.
Yeah.
Simple as that.
100% agreed. 100%. I'm going to try to, like I said, Carl said the D-line is terrible. And also Austin's scheme, 100% agreed. Steelers got issues all over the daggone place. But like I said, I think our guest is back on the line. Oh, no, is he? I'm still looking at his chair over there. Hopefully he's back because I want to get him on real quick because we got a big caller that might be calling in soon as well.
Levon Kirkland, former Pittsburgh Steelers linebacker.
Yeah.
Who wore the 99 before Brett Kiesel. We're waiting for him to pop on the show. And hopefully our phone lines once again are down. We can call out, but you can't call in. It's unfortunate. Next season, we're going to revamp everything in the studio, and we're going to try and get this stuff 100%. It's just like playing on the Steelers right now. I mean, we're going through the motions. You know what I mean? We're trying our best, but it is what it is, folks. It's modern technology, and we can only do so much. Tiz as a wizard here,
man,
and a wizard can only do so much.
They're hitting the board all over the place. Carl says Tomlin hired these guys, so basically, what he's saying, he should bear the blunt of the responsibility.
Oh, for sure,
guys. And
100%
agree.
Oh, don't get me wrong, folks. I'm not saying that Tomlin is blameless in any of this, not anything whatsoever. Oh, we got Levon Kirkland here. He's in the studio right now.
No, I don't think there's him.
It's not?
No, Steve.
Oh, Steve.
Yep.
San Fran Steve. Bring him in. Bring him in.
All right. We'll try to get Steve in real quick. Let's see. There he goes.
San Fran Steve. Welcome back. You know, we unblocked you for one, finally.
Yeah, about 7 weeks worth. So it's just like.
It's like our offense. Non-existent.
It's like your Steelers season for the last 7 years. Show up to the big game and lose.
I wouldn't say 7 years. I mean, we're not losing season in 18 years. Woo-hoo.
So that's what you're gonna go by. It's not losing season for 18
What else
years.
Do we have?
That's it. That's all you have.
Sanders' great looks. I don't know.
Well, what was it before the Philly game? I remember you, James, saying that everybody should be worried about the Steelers. Well, guess what? That went back and bit you right in the ass. It's just like no one was worried about the Steelers.
Yeah.
Listen, and you and I text during the game, almost near the end of the game and everything else. I think it's pathetic. I think the coaching staff, and you got to blame the head coach.
Yeah, he's got to put fire into these guys. You know what I mean? Coach,
he hasn't done anything since he was the defensive coordinator for the Minnesota Vikings, and he was given a championship team by Cowher. Yep. So it's just like he hasn't proved anything. And I saw something interesting. What was great. They talked about all the great coaches, and if Tomlin's a great coach, where's his tree? He has no tree to branch off to show all these great coaches that come underneath him. And it's just like, how do you come up with that? And it's just like the great ones all had. They got 4 or 5 great coaches in the NFL. The Steelers have none. Second, you guys are killing your best players in their prime. TJ Watt is just like he's going to be just like his brother JJ, not ever win a championship because the Steelers aren't really trying as much to get these people in.
There you know,
that's why I said take a rebuilding year. Or you know what? Najee Harris, does he come back? I don't think he comes back.
No, I don't think he's. Would you want to come back to that offensive line?
No.
Yeah. I mean, look at Devontae Adams when he was with the Raiders. He said, "Get me out of here before they kill me." I can't play with this team anymore. And TJ,
that's going to happen to. And you got about Hayward. He's not going to go anywhere because he's getting a little bit up over the age where he's not going to go anywhere. But you got some studs. It's just like if we can't win here, let's go where we can win.
Well, I think Hayward. I think he's going to give one more year. I think that by training camp, if there's no moves, if there's no new defensive coordinator, I think he retires. If there's no new offensive coordinator, he retires. Why? Why would he want to put up with that? I mean, it's just look at it. These players are losing. Show some anger. And I remember back back, I'm going to refer to the New York Yankees. Back when Paul O'Neill was playing for the Yankees, wide receiver, outfielder Paul O'Neill, and he had a hot head. He was a temper. And the Yankees were going through a losing streak. And what did this guy? He lost his mind in the dugout, throwing the water cooler, bats, and everything like that. They turned it around. The Pittsburgh Steelers have no life in the locker room. The only life they have is they want to point fingers at Pickens. It's all his fault because he's a head case. And Tomlin's not doing that. It's all Tomlin's fault. No, it's not. And I'm going to go on a little rant right now because these players don't change their attitudes when they come to Pittsburgh. These players are how would they were in college, and you drafted him, right? So you expect to get the problems when you draft him. He was a head case in Georgia. He had to fight almost every game. Let's draft him. You know what I mean? And then, let's blame Tomlin because he can't corral this kid. No, you got to blame the guys who scout him and who draft him. Simple as that.
That's why I said it's part of your GM's fault too. So,
yeah. And
so
like I said,
I heard what Sanders said, and I kind of listened to him a little bit. I understand a little bit, but the other part is what I don't understand. You guys keep picking up these head cases. It all start. You got AB. You have the running back from Michigan State,
Le'Veon Bell,
all head cases.
Deontay Johnson,
who
just got let go. Who just got let go from oh my God.
Well,
which one? You talking about Deontay Johnson?
Deontay Johnson
for the Ravens.
For the Ravens,
yeah. He
got picked up by another team, and they just let him go.
You see what Baltimore did. They held him over to they didn't cut him until it was that you guys couldn't pick him up.
Exactly.
So
we didn't want him anyways.
But you got nobody else catching the ball right now besides Pickens.
Listen, we got Mike Williams, who's an acrobat. We threw to him like 4 times all season. He's got 1 touchdown or 2 touchdowns. We got Skronik from the practice squad, who's a good special teamer, who's a good wide receiver. He's getting more balls than Mike Williams. Explain that one to me. Scotty Miller, who's a great wide receiver. He's a great route runner. He's a great slot wide receiver. They cut him. Explain this stuff to me. So
I know you and I talk a lot in the offseason about what you guys need. And you know what? You're not going to get anywhere until you build up the offensive line. You know what? You picked up a center last year. The year before, you picked up a left tackle, which I think
who is now a right tackle now. Our number 1 draft pick. He can't play that position either.
So then you got Russell Wilson says he wants to come back, but dude, you haven't. Your numbers are terrible. As a team, why would you want this guy back? Wilson and your other one, Wilson hasn't. Or Wilson and the Fields, they haven't done anything. Yes, was the Pittsburgh Steelers exposed that they played an easy schedule in the beginning of the season, and all of a sudden they started playing playoff teams, and all of a sudden they got crushed.
Well, let me getting back to Russell Wilson, right? For his season this year for the Pittsburgh Steelers, he threw for almost 2,500 yards, 16 touchdowns, and only 5 interceptions. Why would we not want him back next year? I mean, the way I look at it is we re-sign him 3 years, let Justin Fields look at the free agent market, and if he doesn't get signed, we'll bring him back, whatever, and draft the quarterback in the first round, that kid from Georgia. This is the only way the Pittsburgh Steelers offense is going to advance anywhere. We drafted Kenny Pickett a couple of years back. That was the worst mistake the Pittsburgh Steelers could ever do. And me and Sanders, we talked about this. The only reason why they drafted him was because he's from Pitt.
He's a hometown kid. That's why.
If he played for North Carolina or Kansas or Texas A&M, we wouldn't be having this conversation.
How did the draft from Kenny Pickett? Not a lot of great players came out from quarterbacks came out from his class. But also in the class after, in this class, they had some great young quarterbacks.
Well, Dan Marino, one of the best quarterbacks in NFL history, came out of Pitt, and look what happened to him. Another one without a Super Bowl. Yeah. I would have, 28 teams passed him over, or whatever back in the day, how many teams the NFL had. I think it was 27 teams passed him over, and that was horrible.
I hope you guys could do something in free agent. I really do. It's just like, but I saw someone go Steelers winning the Super Bowl next year. It's like,
oh, that was a joke. Hey, but because we can't stay out too long because I don't know when Levon will be calling. But I actually one thing I don't agree with him on is I don't think that I don't think we should sign Russ back. And the reason I say is because Russ' time has passed. You know what I mean? His time has passed. My brother pointed out to me, I would never listen to him, and he was right. And I seen it in the games later on. He was like, Russ is too short. Russ can't see over the line. So Russ is always throwing these out patterns, as you can see.
He has a beautiful wife.
Well,
that's true.
Well, here's the thing. Here's the thing about Russ, that he can be a great mentor. He could be a great mentor for an upcoming college quarterback like the kid from Georgia. I'm telling you, we need to finally break down, and we can't look at Ben Roethlisberger from Miami of Ohio. Who would have thunked it that this kid would come up and win a couple Super Bowls and be first ballot Hall of Famer? Not too many people.
I agree, but I say just start over. Start
you
fresh.
You got the kid Akers from Texas is coming out this year. You wait a year. Like I said, you rebuild for a year. You keep all right. You sign him for a little bit. Maybe there's a couple gems in there, like a Bo Nix who he didn't start at the beginning of the season, but he played his ass off at the end.
He was on our radar. He was on our draft board.
But see, then again, if I remember right, last year or the year before, what was it last year? You've been talking about Kirk Cousins for a while. I'm glad you guys didn't go with that, because then I would really be busting your chops week in and week out.
Well, here's the funny thing. Ha, that you just mentioned that. The Steelers are actually really looking at Kirk Cousins and Sam Darnold after his performance last night. Minnesota is not going to want him back next year. Guaranteed. The Pittsburgh Steelers are actually looking at Kirk Cousins and Sam Darnold. So
Minnesota they have a rookie quarterback that got hurt. What, JJ something?
McCarthy.
JJ McCarthy, which from Minnesota, I think or Michigan, he'll do. I think he'll do well in the right offense.
Steve, we got to let you go, pal. Sorry, because we gotta line up people here. But before we let you go, Steve, give us a score. Ohio State, Notre Dame, really quick.
You know what? I used to be a Chrome Domer fan, and I can't stand them anymore. And everybody hates Ohio State.
Yeah.
So what? 33-31.
Who are you picking?
Notre Dame.
Yeah, all right, Notre Dame. Okay. San Fran, Steve, you heard it live. Welcome to the show. Hey, we'll have you.
I wish I had more time because I have more stuff on my chest. But
I know you do.
Oh yeah. Hey,
I'll see you at the draft at Jamie's
Make sure
house.
you hit us up on the message board. San Fran, Steve. Thanks for stopping by.
All
right, who we got next?
Oh yeah, let's keep the board rolling.
It's like LaGuardia here. Line them up.
Oh yeah. We got Cincinnati Joe.
What is he wearing? Is that a Buffalo Bills hat?
Is that a Bills hat?
That's what it is.
Oh my God. My God.
Did you lose a bet?
Yeah, I live in a household, and she's a Bills fan. She's
listen. I don't want to hear it. I don't care if they threaten you with violence.
Well,
you
it can't be the Ravens, right?
Listen, you wear those Bengals stripes. Wear them proud, because I'll tell you what. We talked offline, Cincy Joe, and I got to tell you, the Cincinnati Bengals, probably the best team in the AFC right now, or when they played, and everybody was scared to play them. Everybody, I can tell you, they would have took on the Bills and beat the Bills. They would have beat the Ravens, because the last two games that they played against the Ravens, they lost by what? A field goal, a couple points.
Yeah.
Come on. And then Kansas City. Wow.
They want no part of us.
Oh my God. That was, did they have I think they had a contest, to fill their rosters. Anybody, section 124, row B, seats 10 through 17. You are now a Kansas City Chief. Come on down and play some football. Come on.
Absolutely.
Hey, Joe, Joe's a good football guy. I give him that. Joe is very knowledgeable about football, very knowledgeable about the sport, and I give him credit. He knows a lot about it. Like, what are you seeing? What is your thought on the process of, should we bring Russ back? Should Tomlin go? Next move is for the Steelers.
Okay, there's no good coaches out there. Mike Tomlin's a great coach. Is he the right coach for the way Pittsburgh is right now? When I watch Pittsburgh Steelers, if you watch all the teams right now that are in the playoffs, what are they known for? Offense.
Oh yeah.
Years ago, 7, 8, 10 years ago, everybody said defense wins Super Bowls. Whoever's in this Super Bowl this year, the score is going to be 30-something to 30-something.
You got to go with the over.
The game is going offense. Pittsburgh was the only team to make the playoffs this year that was more known for their defense and defense oriented than their offense.
Okay. All right.
So Pittsburgh needs to, I think, get a new coaching system, new head coach, new coordinators, get rid of Russell Wilson, start opening up the playbook, get a receiver, or you need two. Every team needs 2 receivers. Every playoff team you see now has 2 wide receivers. Pittsburgh's got 1 and 1B. So I think Pittsburgh, in order to compete in the way, look what happened to the Chargers. Number 1 or number 2 in defense. What happened to them?
Exactly. I agree.
They gave up 30. They gave up 32 points. Lost to a team that was crippled, so crippled that they put up 32 points against the number 1 defensive team, and their offense couldn't muster a touchdown. So Pittsburgh, in order to compete where the AFC is right now, not just the NFC, the NFL, they got to change their philosophy and bring in people who are going to be creative, open up the playbook, grab the slot receivers, grab the Shakurs like Buffalo's got, grab the Amon-Ra St. Brown like the Lions got. Pittsburgh's got one guy. He shows up one week. He gets mad another week. Tomlin's a disciplinarian. I think the players respect him. I'm not saying he's lost the locker room, but it just seems like they're flatlining. They're just, he's always got his hands in his pockets. He's always looking at the scoreboard. It's like, what's his mind thinking? He's not like, look at these young guys for Green Bay and Detroit. They're the headphones on. The head coach is running up and down the field.
He used to have that passion. He used to yell at players. He used to pull them aside, and he used to, get in their faces. I haven't seen that in years. I haven't seen it in years.
Pittsburgh's offense, their philosophy to compete with Baltimore, Cincy, Buffalo, Kansas City. If you don't average 25, 30 points a game in the AFC, you're not going to win 17-10 anymore. But Pittsburgh's not going to slow Buffalo, whether it's in Pittsburgh or Buffalo, to 10 points a game and win like they did 20 years ago.
Yeah, and you're not gonna win games like we beat the Ravens with 6 field goals either. It's not gonna happen.
Right. So I love Tomlin, and if you got rid of him, would you find a better coach? Probably not, because they're not out there.
I agree. I agree with that too.
You're gonna get a young coordinator. Everybody's gonna go after these hot coordinators, like the guy for Detroit.
Yep.
This Ben Johnson guy. Is he a great offensive mind? Sure.
But you got to let him do it. You got to let him play his game. You got to let him do his job.
Right. But is he going to go to a team like Cleveland where they got hardly anything and they're going to be expecting Detroit results? So it's like if you look at Tomlin,
anything goes to Cleveland, it's going to be
true. But it's like, it was really sad. I'll be honest with you, because I was rooting for Pittsburgh over the Ravens. I no matter who the Ravens are playing. Yeah. But watching that offense with Russell Wilson was kind of painful, man. It was. What happened to Warren? Is Warren all of a sudden? What happened to the screens with Warren? Was he hurt? Was he hurt last week?
No.
What happened to Warren?
They didn't. Our so-called offensive coordinator, like we talked earlier on the show, wasn't putting the proper players in the position. They wasn't calling the plays. You got to play off the players' strengths, not the weaknesses.
I was surprised. No Warren screens, no Warren sweeps, no reverses like they run with that guy. It was just Najee Harris.
I hate to bring this up there, Cincy Joe, but let's look back at the game that we beat you, all right? And I'm not trying to rub salt into the wound, but specifically, you look at how we were offensive-minded in that game, what we did to win that ball game, because Pittsburgh Steelers is not a high-scoring team, right? And we have to compete with you guys. So we had to open up the offense, and look at what we did and what we achieved. We achieved the victory, right?
Did you notice what you did offensively against Cincinnati? You threw the ball down the middle of the field.
Exactly.
And if you watch Russell Wilson, the last 3 games, it was one step to the sidelines,
There
one
you go,
step to the pass. I don't understand it. I don't, we're all couch coaches, but it's like when we're watching the game, it's like we sort of like, why aren't they throwing down the slot? Why aren't they throwing Freiermuth down the slot, down the middle of the field, down to hash marks like they did against Cincinnati for 30 yards? Why aren't they throwing Mike Williams on a slant 30 yards downfield? Why is everything 10 yards, 8 yards to the right? It's just, I don't understand. Arthur, your what's his name? Your offensive coordinator. I don't understand Arthur Smith. I don't understand his, when you need points, when you were down 14-0, throw the ball downfield. Let Pickens jump up, get a pass interference, see if you can get a free 30, 40 yards. But I think it's just a time for a change. You got to start Pittsburgh. If they stick to defense and defense wins only, it's going to be hard to compete with these teams in the playoffs, because if you don't score 30 points, or if you're not capable of scoring 30 points quick, Buffalo's going to be strong for the next 2-3 years. Baltimore's going to be strong. Cincy's getting better. All these young teams but they're all got one thing in common. They score 30 points a game, and they don't really have great defenses. Buffalo's defense, if you look at it, they're not that good. Right, they're small. Right. They're small. They're probably going to get beat up a little bit this week, but they got a guy in an offense that can score. Look what they did with the Lions. They scored 40-something points. The Rams, 40-something points. Yeah, they won by the last second, but who cares if you give up 41 if you're scoring 43? Who cares?
Yeah.
As a fan, as a coach, as a player, they don't care. Nobody's going to sit there and say, well, our defense sucks, but our offense is scoring points. You're 12-4. You're scoring 30 points a game. You're keeping up with the Joneses in football. So I just think Pittsburgh needs a complete erase the board, start over, and draft a new quarterback. Don't go after Kirk Cousins. That would, in my opinion, like San Fran Steve, I think that would be a disaster.
Well, you heard it. You heard it here from Cincy Joe. Cincy Joe, thanks for stopping by Steeler Nation Live. We love it.
Gotcha.
We got one of the most prolific linebackers the Pittsburgh Steelers have ever had. Wore the 99 proud. Levon Kirkland, we're about to bring you on. And Cincy Joe, thanks for coming on. And we appreciate your time. And go Steelers. And here we got
Levon Kirkland. So we're about to give like I said, this guy is one of the guys who deserves it. He's a Pittsburgh Steeler for life. Guy, no matter what team this guy is on. So we got to give him the best intro we can. Guys, welcome to Steeler Nation Live, and join us for the finale show of the season as we welcome one of the mainstays of Steeler football. One of the guys who brought back that tenacity, that toughness back into Steeler Nation, and always one of the ones that we go off of when we need that spurt. 95 Super Bowl that year, the Steelers were tough. In big games, he came up huge for the Steelers, and Kirkland stopping Emmitt Smith, and also in the next play stopping Troy Aikman, forcing the Cowboys into a late fourth quarter punt where the Steelers were trying to take control of this game. 20-17, they were down, and Kirkland coming up with huge stops. And always, we welcome Levon Kirkland to Steeler Nation Live. Guys, like we said, we got one of the legends here on Steeler Nation Live. You guys all know, like I said, if you never met this guy, never seen him play, phenomenal. Levon Kirkland, much appreciation for you stopping by Steeler Nation Live, brother. Oh, let me see if we get any sound. Yeah, Levon, we're not getting any sound from you, though.
Let me text him.
Yeah, let's see what's going on. Because, like I said, guys, this guy's a premier guy. You got to hear him talk.
Wave if you can hear us. Can you hear us? We can't hear you. That's a problem. That's a big problem.
Let's see, guys. We're gonna try to see if we can get his audio coming in.
Oh man, that sucks.
Yeah, because for some reason, let me see.
We could see you, handsome fella.
I'm gonna see if I can take you out and bring you back in. Maybe. Let me see. All right. I don't know.
Any luck?
Ain't no luck with him?
Oh man.
Oh my gosh.
Oh,
Hey, Levon, my apologies, brother, but you might have to just is there any way you could step out and come back in? You know what I mean? Just sign out and then come back in. Because that's probably what the issue is.
yeah. I'll text you.
Okay. There you go. Yep, I think he's doing that. Yeah, guys, like I said, we got to get this guy on. Like Levon is one of the great Steelers out there.
1992 to 2000, one Super Bowl appearance against the Dallas Cowboys. Unfortunately, we lost that game, and just a prolific defensive end, just tearing people up. Okay, I think we see him. Hopefully,
yeah, let's see if we can get him on.
Hello?
Yeah, hey, all right, beautiful. Woo! All right, technology, you gotta love it. Levon Kirkland, Pittsburgh Steelers, man, wore that 99 proud.
Yes, thank you very much. I appreciate it.
Welcome to the show, Levon. I'm sure you don't live in a cave or under a rock. You're Steeler for life. You see what's been going on with the Pittsburgh Steelers. You lived it. You were there. You lived it. Locker room, practices, training camp.
All of it.
That's got to be hurtful to watch this team deflate and to lose all these games the way they did. What would you say to these guys if you were there in the locker room? What advice would you give these guys?
I don't know if I'll be giving them advice, but my tone would be pretty awful, actually. But no, I think that I think they're a team that is tough for them to score a good bit, and I think they put a lot of put a lot of burden on their defense to be almost perfect.
Absolutely.
I think they have a good defense. I really do. I think they have a championship defense, but they can't score points, and that's a problem.
Yeah,
you know
Especially in the NFL today. In my day, it'll probably be no problem, right? Because most teams probably didn't score no more than 21 points at the most.
Right.
And nowadays, how the rules and how the NFL is more slanted to the offense,
Oh, for
it's
sure.
pretty tough for you to play defense in the first place. So if your offense is not dynamic and can't score points when need to, then you're gonna probably have some problems scoring, and you'll play teams that are good who can score on a consistent basis, and it's gonna be trouble for you. And I think that's what the Steelers are. They're a good team, but they're not one of the elite teams.
Well, let me ask you this, Levon. Does coaching play a big part on the way that these players are playing nowadays? Back in the day when you were playing, I don't think that was an issue. But now, as the game changes, like you said, do you think it's more or less effort from the player or the coaches, just getting in their asses and just telling them you got to do your job?
Well, the first thing is you got to have the players who can do the job.
Yeah.
Yeah, for sure. Absolutely.
I think if you don't, I don't matter. It doesn't really matter how good the coach is. If you don't have the players that can do the job, then it's not going to happen.
There you
Or
go.
vice versa.
Right.
If you don't have the coach and you don't have the culture, it's not going to happen either.
Right.
So
And also,
it's a combination. It's a combination of both things. So I don't know if you can tell guys to get their butts in gear or whatever you can tell them. I don't know if they can't really do it anyway. Then they're certainly not going to do it in the playoffs.
for sure. For sure.
So I think you got to have the guys. I don't know if Russell Wilson is the future for the Pittsburgh Steelers. Really never thought he was the future. Maybe thought he was more like a transition guy until you get a better guy.
Yes.
But his reputation, I think that's what, everybody thinks of Russell Wilson in his, prime Seattle days.
Yep.
And he's not prime Russell Wilson back in Seattle. He's older Russell Wilson that probably needs to be holding the clipboard more so than out there playing.
I agree 100% with what you're saying there. And the fact is too, like you said, it's the realization that a lot of people got to sit there and see. And like I said earlier, Russell Wilson, while he does still have some skills, he doesn't have that. Number one, he's an older player, and now you're an older player whose speed is diminishing. Now you're an older player who's not even 6 foot. So now you're trying to see over this line. So that leaves the middle of the field where Pittsburgh can be taking advantage of that they don't, and a lot of other teams do. So that's the difference, and they can't do that with a shorter quarterback. And
I think that's a valid point. I think when quarterbacks who are mostly dual quarterbacks who really make a lot of plays with their legs and their scrambling ability, once they get older and they're not as fast as they used to be, now normally they're not great guys that can handle driving the ball down the field. He's not that. He's not that guy who can get you out of trouble. Once upon a time, I mean, 3rd and 15 didn't really matter with Russell Wilson. He was going to make it happen. Now I'm not sure he's that guy. And it shows. It really does. The last 4 games of the regular season, I mean, kind of told you that it was probably going to be one and done for the Steelers, and it was.
Yep, 100%.
Well, getting back to Russell Wilson, when you get older, you have to utilize your strengths as opposed to how you've been. Like you made a great example when he played. He's not the Seattle quarterback anymore. He's getting older. He's losing the step. So what I would do as a coach, quarterback's coach or offense coordinator, I would roll him out more in passing situations, get him away so that way he can see downfield more clearly instead of just timing throws and just hoping that our receiver is going to be there. But that's not happening. A lot of the coaches, the offensive coordinator, is not calling the right plays. He's not putting the right people in positions. And defensively, same thing. I mean, when you have a coordinator who just gives basically your defensive scheme away to the offense, you're not going to defend pretty much anybody, and they're gonna walk all over you. Just look at the last games at the Pittsburgh Steelers, the playoffs, how we got walked on for the first half, 21-0, 28-0, 35-7 in all these games, and hope that our offense would, come together in the second half and our defense could do some work. And Levon, you said it perfectly, that if you don't have an offense, your defense is going to get killed because they're out there all the time, and you're expecting these guys to be perfect when they're tired. So if you got an offense that could run and operate correctly, you give your defense a rest. And that's what we did earlier in the season, and it just went to hell.
Well, yeah, I mean, I see your point about rolling him out to one way or another, but a lot of times that really kind of cuts off the field for you too. You can only throw to one side.
Yeah,
so although that is a good strategy, I don't think you can always do that when you're running the ball. I think you have to make sure you're giving the defense some pause. You're giving them something to think about all the time when you're running your offense. I don't really think the Steelers do that very well. And trust me, on defense, there's a lot of energy. I mean, defense is energy. Is that's why guys get tired, because you have to react. You have to see it, believe it, go make the play. When offense knows exactly where they're going to go to, so it's not as much energy. And so when your offense can't really get it done, your defense does get tired, because now they can go on a 10-play drive, a 7-play drive, a 9-play drive, a 12-play drive, and you're getting off the field. Your offense is getting off the field 3 and out, and that's not going to cut it in the playoffs. Or when you play a good team, it's just not going to really get it done. So, yeah, I think the Steelers have to go in a different direction. I really do. I really do like Tomlin, and he has a history, but lately, if I'm to be fair, his history hasn't been good. It really hasn't. I mean, going to the playoffs and going and getting out in the first round, it's just not the Steelers' way.
Right.
It's just not.
Let me ask you this, Levon. George Pickens, great wide receiver. We had Antonio Brown. We had a lot of issues in the locker room with certain players. Now, I can't recall back in the day, your heyday, with players, doing their own thing or not producing, or just it's all about me kind of deal. What would you say to a player like George Pickens right now, who has all the talent in the world, that he's basically throwing it away, what would you say to him in the locker room? Would you pull him aside and talk to him, man to man, or how would you treat a player like that on your team?
Yeah, I think you always try to pull a professional to the side and talk to him, but I'm not quite sure he's a professional.
Wow, there you go.
I see some of his antics. He's a talent. There's no doubt about it. But in this game, it's not about just talent. You got to be able to go out there and do a job on a very consistent basis. He's not very consistent, as you saw before. I mean, the last regular season game, I mean, he was dropping balls all over the place, and he puts on these tantrums. And it seems like the Steelers lately have been getting that kind of wide receiver.
Yeah.
A guy who's uber talented, but not compliant.
Now, who would you blame? Who would you point to figuring that? Is it the GM, the coaches? Because they expect the coaches to be babysitters, I guess, now. They're blaming Tomlin because he couldn't corral AB, he couldn't corral Le'Veon, Deontay Johnson, and it goes on and on. And they like to point the finger at him.
See, the problem is they're men. You got to treat them like men.
Sure.
But sometimes, you got to put the clamps down.
For sure.
Either in the beginning, I think a lot of times they make so many plays that sometimes their behavior, you're like, oh, okay, it's all right. We're going to let it slide. But then that behavior catches up with you.
Yep.
Yeah, that's what it's doing now.
Now, when it's crunch time, when you need to play, they're disgruntled, and mostly a lot of times you see this out of the characteristics out of DBs and wide receivers.
Divas.
Well, I mean, you want them to have a little bit of that. You want them to want the ball. I get that. I'm for that. But they got to do their job as well. And they're not doing their job. So it makes it look even worse. It's fine if you're a diva and you're making plays and you're catching the block and you're doing what you need to do to help your team. But when you don't, then you're more on the liability side than the asset side. And I think that sometimes he can be more of a liability than really a number one receiver. He's not acting like it. So, yeah, I would take him to the side. I would talk to him like a man and, help him to understand that, if he don't get the job done, then we can go elsewhere. There's nobody bigger than the Shield. Nobody's bigger than the Steelers. I mean, players get replaced all the time. And although you may be talented, if you're not compliant, if you're not a hard worker, if you're not a leader, they're going to get rid of you at some point in time. It's not going to be tolerated. So I think he's at a point where, hey, man, your attitude needs to maybe change. And now I don't know what kind of worker he is because I've never been in practice, so I don't know. Right. And I don't really know him, but what I see, he's representing himself on TV. And what I see on TV is not a good representation of a top quality wide receiver.
No, you don't. The funny thing about that is I'm trying to think as you're talking about that. Defensive players, there's not too many diva defensive players out there. The only player right now that comes to my mind is Deion Sanders. I mean, there's really not too many defensive players out there who act like that.
Well, I would say that I think because on defense it's just tougher. You're trying to stop a team from doing what they do when they know what they're doing, and they're also excellent athletes. So, and I think the game today, it kind of takes away the art of defense. And what I mean by that is once upon a time, you can hit guys late. You can hit them a little afterwards. But what that did was that sent a message to guys. Like, whether you catch it or whether you drop it, you're going to get hit. Whether you throw it or not throw it, you're going to get hit. And we're going to keep coming. And after a while, you're going to probably quit because you're going to get tired of getting beat down. Now,
not today.
It's not that way. It's really not that way. So it plays in favor of the quarterback, the wide receivers, the running back. I mean, I still don't understand the stiff arm and why it's not a face mask. But on
You got a point
defense,
there, though.
you can do on defense, you do the same thing, but it's a face mask.
Oh,
That tells you
absolutely.
that it's an offensive lead. Because you can almost call every stiff arm a face mask. But I guess some people say, well, you're not grabbing it. A lot of times they are kind of grabbing it. It's a
for sure.
tool you can use, but you can't use it on, it's just like the horse collar. I made a couple tackles just grabbing somebody by the back of their shoulder pads because it was a weapon. I could use it,
Sure.
The stiff arm to me is kind of a face mask, but it's on the offensive side. And like the tush push are when guys can just keep pushing guys, whether they stop them or not. I think that's dangerous. And I know we're going off subject here.
No.
That to me, that's dangerous as well. It's dangerous to the defensive guy because I stop a guy and I stop his momentum, but some 370-pound offensive lineman comes running full speed and hits him. I mean, I'm gonna go backwards and I might hurt something.
Don't for sure. Absolutely.
Yeah, so I think that I just think that
that's a great
there's
point.
so much slanted to the offense that you're not going to really get great defenses anymore.
I agree, and you are correct. And they tried to open up the game like that, and they're doing it in a way by handicapping the defensive player. Because I sit there sometimes and I'm saying, how do you a guy that goes in college, how do you make him into a defensive back when you can't even touch this guy? You can't scratch. You can literally, you got to hover around this guy like some angel. You know what I mean? And
can't look at him. Don't look at him. And if they bump into you,
I think it's tough to play DB. I think it's tough to play any of those positions. I remember just when I used to play against guys, I used to play against tight ends. And the one thing that I could do was I could always kind of lock their arm. Like if I'm running side by side, I'm usually on their inside arm. And I would just put my arm on theirs and make it harder for them to catch a one-handed pass.
For sure.
And that was just a trick.
Right.
Something you could use. Now you can't really use that anymore.
No, exactly.
So now these guys, they're basically running down the field pretty much scot-free. And it's hard. I mean, we used to jam them up. I mean, we used to
Mel
get
Blunt.
and we were ragdog of,
remember Mel Blunt? They changed the rules because of Mel Blunt.
Yeah,
right. Yeah. But even in our time, like you could jam the tight end a little bit better than what you could. Now, you can't really jam them that much.
Show them a little love.
And so you got these tight ends, all of a sudden, they're superstars.
For sure. Gronkowski,
I know
Kelsey.
that game. I know it's evolved a little bit because now you got bigger guys. I get it. But you still can't really jam them or anything like that anymore. You really can't put your hands on them like you used to. So therefore, it makes it easier for the defense.
Exactly.
Yeah, they just want the offense. They just want to make it more exciting, scoring more points, and they think that you get more people watching football if it's a higher scoring game.
Well, I mean, it works though. The formula does work because the diehard fans like me and you, we're gonna watch a football game regardless.
Right.
Unfortunately, you're right.
We're gonna watch it regardless. They got us. They don't need our eyes. They got our eyes.
Yeah.
And what they need is that person who's in California or Miami or New York that have so many options that they can do something else.
Yeah.
The NFL want those eyes.
There you go. Wow.
They want those eyes. They want the casual fan.
Oh, yeah. And you're right.
Yeah, and the Super Bowl is about the fan that normally doesn't watch football. And really during the Super Bowl, they still don't really watch it, but they watch for other things like the halftime show, the commercials.
Yeah, it's all about money.
So
it's not about football
it's all about
anymore.
The dollars and all that.
Yeah.
It's not about football anymore. It's about Johnny Manziel. Remember? Money? That's all it's about.
It's a shame because I thought the game was really, I'm not trying to be one of those older guys when I played, but I kind of liked the game in the 90s, man. It was kind of fair across the board.
Hard hitting. Yeah.
If your wide receiver get hurt and the quarterback overthrows him, that's the quarterback's fault.
Yeah.
It's not my fault. It's the safety. then I'm gonna just, I'm just gonna let him just catch the ball. No,
Yeah.
I'm not like that. Yeah.
Hey,
No. Oh, quarterback, you go throw the ball, think you're just gonna sit back there and you don't have to take one of these licks. And
see, that's
we'll
why I
see
like
how
getting
football.
we'll
you.
see how
That's
we'll see
football.
how good your mindset is. Because all these guys talk about my mindset and I just really have a lot of guts and fortitude. I'm like, yeah, because you're not getting hit.
I love it. Freaking
So
love it.
where would your fortitude and mindset and my go spirit would be if quarterbacks would get hit like they used to get hit?
Exactly.
Can't even touch him now. Put flags on him in dresses.
Hey, Levon, like I said, brother, the appreciation for us tonight with you coming on, brother. Because like I said, you like a legend to me, man. I just love watching you.
Not
play,
like a
man.
legend. He is a legend.
Yeah, he is.
Thank you
That's
so
true.
much.
He's
I
a
appreciate that.
Super
Yeah.
legend.
And one thing before we let you go, because you know what, dude, you came on and you like a champ. You went through it, brother, and I appreciate you answering and coming out there and not holding back. But one of the things I wanted to ask you, because I had one of my friends, he's online as well. He's a Dallas Cowboy lover.
Boo.
Now, we talk a lot about that Super Bowl when you played in '95 when y'all played the Cowboys. And dude, I was never so proud of a Pittsburgh Steelers team the way you guys fought back. We know how it ended, with the interception or whatever, blah, blah. But the way you guys, that game was getting out of control, and the way you guys, especially you, the way you came up with that huge sack of Troy Aikman. Right. When I just seen him stumbling back, oh my God.
The funny thing about that was the play before, I probably could have made a play on the pass, but I didn't push. And when Coach LeBeau called the next play, I basically was like, okay, I'm about to make a play. I'm about to make a big play here. And I did it. And I'm telling you, if Emmitt Smith went to turn and he went to chop me, and I was like, I'm just going to dive over him. And I mean, you're making this decision as you go along. This is seconds. And I just really jumped. And I kind of brushed Troy a little bit, and it kind of knocked him off balance. I'm telling you, if Emmitt Smith would have just been 1 second late, I would have crushed Troy Aikman. He would have fumbled that ball, and I'm sure we would have got it and scored.
Oh, for sure.
Although it was a big play, it would have been an iconic play. Oh, if it would have worked exactly the way it's supposed to.
Unfortunately.
But like I said, that play was phenomenal because, like I said, we were down and we were fighting back, and you guys, I think it was close. I think it was like 20 or 17 or something like that.
We were down by 3.
Yeah.
We were down by 3. We really settled in. I think the first couple of plays on that game, we were just they weren't really doing anything fancy. They just, their experience, they've been there before. We were kind of new. We got to kind of have our nerves, and
young team.
They kind of went down there and scored right away. And I was like, there's no way they're going to blow us out. We worked too hard.
Right.
And so what we started doing was we started making some stops, and we started making the routine plays. And I think we were trying too hard at first. And then we kind of settled down like, okay, this is a football game. Let's play ball. And then we scored right before halftime. And then we went out there and we shut them down. And really, we threw 2 interceptions that really changed the game around.
Yeah, I don't want to talk about that.
I don't want to talk about
I don't know how.
If you look at the game at halftime, I think we're only down by 3.
Yeah.
We're down by 3. We catch a touchdown. We got the momentum. We go back out there. They stopped us. We go back out there. We shut them down.
Yes.
And we shut them down in the second half. We basically shut them down.
Woo!
And
I don't know how O'Donnell walked out of the locker room.
Yeah, I'm surprised he got out of there myself. You got to be professional. You can't.
Yeah. I think he's on witness protection.
I can't stop acting like you can't really put your raw emotions out there. You gotta be professional about it.
Yeah, you don't want to go to jail.
And Neil got us there. Neil got us there, to be honest with you.
Yeah, he did.
his game with the Colts. He got us there. So, I mean, you take the good with the bad.
Yeah.
Whatever. I want to win, man.
I know. Hey, trust me. Nobody. Hey, man, trust me. I don't have a ring, and I mean I really believe that's the one thing that's really missing from our team. And we did not too long ago. We did. I don't know if you guys saw this, but a Hulu or one of those channels, they got a special about the Blitzburg.
Yes. Yeah, I did see that.
It was excellent. It was excellent, and man, I'm telling you, if we win a Super Bowl, or if we together maybe another year or two, that's an all-time defense. That defense
sure.
is talked
For
about.
sure.
Well, that Rob
We're going to be compared
Oh, for
because
sure.
we put our mark on the game. I mean, we didn't win a Super Bowl at Pittsburgh, but I think our teams really lift that winning spirit back to what it
There you
was in
go.
the 70s. And I hear a lot of people saying, you know, I mean, people still, it's so funny, people still recognize me, and they still talk about the Blitzburg defense and how
Can't miss you.
fun it was
You're
to
what,
watch.
6'8"? What are you, 6'8", 300 pounds? You can't miss you.
Was.
I'm not quite 6'8", but well, you know, I was a different player. You know, I was, you know, the formula worked. You know, because the thing that I did well was I did everything well.
Yeah, you did.
And people were, you know, my size, you would never guess it, but if you watch Pittsburgh or, you know, coaches, they would tell you, like, this guy he could do everything. Like,
yeah, you covered tight ends, some wide receivers. You were very fast on your feet for your size.
Yeah, he was.
And that's what made you such a great player. Your football IQ on top of that, and you knew where you had to be when you had to be there, and you just one of the best defensive ends in football.
Thank you so much. I appreciate it.
No, we appreciate you.
It was so funny though when I was coming out. You remember Maravich? Was it Maravich, the quarterback?
Yeah.
From USC.
Yeah, his dad was a workout guru. I worked out with his father for about a week and a half, right?
Wow.
His father is excellent. I'm telling you. That is one of the best trainers of all time.
Wow.
I don't care what anybody says.
There you go.
The guy that Michael Jordan trained with, I don't think this guy, Maravich, was so good. And you know what he told me? He told me he's like, you almost have he told me, he's like, your quickness is way beyond most linebackers.
Oh, for sure.
And
absolutely.
He said, you got a quickness of a running back. He said, that's how quick you are.
Oh, for sure.
So
you could have been a power back.
I could, you know what? Maybe not, but I like hitting. I don't like getting hit, but I like hitting.
There you go.
Just like the quarterback.
There you go. Levon Kirkland.
So linebacker suited me just fine. Yeah.
There you go. Levon Kirkland, Steeler Nation Live. How can we thank you for coming back on, your previous guest? Levon, we love you, man. You're one of your family. You're one of the elite linebackers of the Pittsburgh Steelers. You can't really talk about other teams and other players. You might a couple here and there, but when you put on that black and gold, man, that's it. That's it.
It means something more. It's kind of like the SEC. It just means more when you wear the black and gold, man. It's an expectation. It's a culture that is true football. And the fans are the best, knowledgeable, most classy fans that you would ever find. I really was more so blessed than anything to play with the Pittsburgh Steelers.
There you go.
Yeah.
Not too many people can say that.
Thank you guys for remembering me.
Oh, how can we forget you, man?
A guy from a small town. Thank you very much.
Love the highlights, man. Roger, true gentleman, a scholar, a Pittsburgh Steeler. We wish you nothing but the best, Levon, and we're definitely going to call you soon when the season starts again, just to check up on you, see what you're doing, see what's going on in Levon's world, and we're definitely going to have you back here in the studio The
Yeah.
fans love you. I mean, the message
Hope-
board is blowing up.
Yeah.
Hopefully,
So-
the Clemson Tigers, will be in the playoffs. We'll be playing next year this time. Hopefully,
All right, we'll see. We'll talk
Yep.
about it.
All right,
Levon
man.
Kirkland,
Be
former
good.
Pittsburgh Steelers. There he is, man.
Love you, brother.
You're the
Thank you,
best. Thanks
brother.
for coming on, man.
Yes. Yeah. Like I said, guys, phenomenal guy. What else could you say? What else could you say?
Man, you could sit down and listen to the stories back in the day when football was football, and I like to hit people.
Yeah,
I
mean, the guy's phenomenal. And like I said, guys, he don't sugarcoat stuff. he doesn't. Excuse me about that. He doesn't sugarcoat stuff. He comes out with it. He lets you know what's going on. And like I said, once he comes on, he gives you his time. He goes all out. So I have much appreciation to Levon Kirkland for coming on tonight. If you get a chance, we got to text him and let him know.
Oh, for sure.
Much love this guy gave. And that's what Steeler football is all about. These guys come on, they tell you. He told you. He played back in the day, Blitzburg, when the Steelers were shutting down stuff. Shutting down the Cowboys in that 95 Super Bowl. That 95 Super Bowl, you Cowboy fans. 95.
Yeah, your starting quarterback, Neil O'Donnell.
You paid him.
Still though. So folks, it's a sad day for us, Steel Nation Live. We're going to be on a hiatus for a little while. We got to gather up. Our pre-draft show is going to come up in about a month or so. And don't worry, you'll be alerted when that comes on. Every year we have our own pre-draft show. We have our own draft show. We don't pick the players that these so-called experts pick. We pick our own players who we believe would be well suited for the Pittsburgh Steelers, who could get us another championship. That's coming up soon. We already been doing our homework last college football season, where we've been putting names down. We've been, watching videos, highlights, and we're just going to get another team to go. And this is it. We're not going to say the Cowboys, this is our year, but we're going to try our best to get back to Steeler football.
See that, right? Cowboys beat the Steelers tonight. There's Cowboy Kenny. I wanted to get up on, but we were trying to get Levon on, so that was a lot of the backlog there.
Yeah.
We definitely had to get him on. But guys, like I said, well, this is the end of the season show, so we wanted to make this one a little longer, and we still got a little bit of time left. I had a couple more guys that were going to get on there, and then we're gonna get out of here, but they'll be coming on soon as well. And one of the other things we wanted to talk about as well is a lot of people out there, they're saying maybe it is that time for Tomlin to leave. And James, you said, you know what?
No, absolutely not.
Yeah.
I mean, he's you have to give the right players. We have to put in the right players and the right coaches to coach these players. We haven't seen great coaching in many years. And like I said, I referenced Dick LeBeau, Ken Munchak, offensive line coach. I mean, it's just all the coaches knew who to put in, when to put in, why to put in. And for some reason, it's gone to the wind. I mean, I don't understand. And these guys are clueless when they get in their place. So yes, Tomlin is the coach, the head coach, and shit rolls downhill, and he has a responsibility to gather up his coaches and make sure they're doing their jobs. And right now we're having a little issue with that. We need more of a coach, not a philosopher. We don't need Socrates on the sideline calling plays or whatnot. We need a coach who's going to control the team. We need a coach who's going to be able to play the players that should be out there playing and doing the right way. Training camp is huge and everything. It's just not a fun party to get together. Hey, let's learn a new playbook. Let's get coaches in there who can coach these players and make them champions and pull out the greatness of these players, their strengths, and overcome their weaknesses. And this is what we're lacking. This is what we've been lacking for the past, 10 years maybe, that we have to get players in here who know what they're doing. And it's unfortunate. And you see the outcome with the Pittsburgh Steelers last 5 games, they lost. And one happens to be a playoff game, one and done. The last time that Pittsburgh Steelers won a football game was December 8th against the Cleveland Browns. And that was like a 27-14 game. And it wasn't like a blowout or anything. And we have to just have a good draft. Okay. And if you're going to draft, we say this all the time. If you're going to draft a player in a position, draft that player for the position. Don't draft for the name. Don't draft for the school. We talked about this before a show. How did the Patriots? Okay, well, let me back up a little bit. A lot of people are saying that this draft might not be that great because Pittsburgh is picking high. We're I think 21st in the order. I think it's 52nd pick, whatever. I can't remember, but there's not much you can do with a 21st pick in the NFL. Hey, let's go back to the New England Patriots who were winning championships and ball games and Super Bowls and stuff. They had pretty much the last draft pick every draft. They draft these players, no-name players, no-name schools, and they develop these players. And, Gronkowski, Edelman, Brady, who was a 100-pound weakling come out of Michigan. I think he was the third-string quarterback in Michigan, and he's one of the best, if not the best quarterback in NFL history. And taking all these wide receivers and all these running backs that come out of New England, Massachusetts, who has Super Bowl rings, who have championships, the guys that you never would have thought in college, and develop them. That's what we need in Pittsburgh. We need somebody to develop these players who can actually play, Sanders.
Yeah. And I agree with you. I see Humberto, he says, fire Mike Tomlin. And you know what? Like I said, it's coming from all over the place, and some people have a lot of valid reasons why.
Oh, sure. But a lot of these people, okay, and I understand the frustration and anger because I'm with there too, and Sanders with it. Who are you going to replace him with?
Yeah.
That's it. I mean, it's simple. We hope that this turns around, but right now, if you can throw out a name, I'm asking you, people out there, prove me wrong. Message boards wide open. Let us know if there is a coach out there who can replace Mike Tomlin and do a better job. And I'm not trying to be an ass about this. I'm really not. Maybe I'm missing the boat here. Maybe I'm missing the point. Maybe there is somebody out there that I'm unaware of. And like I said, I'm stressing. I'm not trying to be a jerk. I'm not trying to make fun of anybody who says, find me somebody who's better. No, it's a legit question. If you can find another coach who's available, all right, just don't name me like Don Shula or Bill Belichick or Tom Landry or whatever. I want an actual name of a coach who could come in here and take this team and turn it around. If you can, it's wonderful. And I implore you to let me know who this person is. But for right now, I don't know. You have the offensive coordinator for the Detroit Lions. He's going to be head coach next year somewhere. There's no doubt with that. But give me a name. Simple. I'm sorry. I don't know.
No, I'm in agreement with you. I mean, you do need a name. And like you said, it's not all on Cowher. I mean, Cowher. We were talking about Cowher.
Yeah, we're talking.
It's not all on Tomlin. The whole thing isn't on Tomlin, and that I will agree. But is it the answer for him to stay in Pittsburgh? I don't know if that's the answer as well. I know one of the things Tomlin does have to do is he has to start making moves on other people within Pittsburgh. And as we see, like the offensive coordinator, I don't know. What do you guys think about Arthur Smith? Should Arthur Smith stay or go? James?
Go. He's got to go. And back to Mike Tomlin really quick before we start talking about Arthur Smith, that for folks out there, Mike Tomlin does not have, he has a no trade clause in his contract. So he cannot be traded to another team, no matter what they want to give him, unless he says, okay, I agree to that. So just let's let the record state that Mike Tomlin has a no trade clause. So the only way is if he resigns or if he gets fired.
Unless he allows.
Right. If he allows it,
right,
which he already said he's not going anywhere.
Right.
So that's coming from him. So he needs to turn his shit around and get going. All right, back to Arthur Smith.
Yeah.
I mean,
what do you think? What are you guys' thoughts on there about Arthur Smith, the offensive coordinator for the Pittsburgh Steelers? Played, was a head coach for the Atlanta Falcons the year before prior, comes to Pittsburgh. And I thought he might be a good fit because I said we need somebody different. We just got Matt Canada out of the way, and our offense and everything seemed like it almost digressed to the same type of offense with Matt Canada.
Right.
So I don't know if it's the fact that Levon Kirkland agreed earlier. Is it the height problem with our starter quarterback? At 5'10", you got linemen that are 6'4", 6'5". So that middle of the field in any NFL contest is wide open. We haven't been able to use it. And if we did, it's been sparingly. And James came up with a great process of thinking, do a lot of rollout with them. But just like Levon said, then you cutting off some of the field because you roll in a certain way. So you're going to either pass this way or pass, in the middle a little bit. But you cut off the other side of the field.
But you gotta utilize your strengths. And if something isn't there anymore, you got to figure out how to turn that around. What other strengths can I use to do this? Well, how about this? A lot of teams do it. Tight ends off the line, pass to the tight end right off the line. Screens, a lot of screens. This offensive line is confused, not blocking properly, not finding holes for the running backs. If the defense is putting so much pressure on them, you start throwing screens, right? You throw screens, that slows down the pressure. Well, then you could open up the middle of the field and sideline passes, right? There's a lot that's going on. I don't understand for a guy like me who's got this awesome, amazing radio talk show, right? Never coached football before, but I'm a fan. I love football. I love the Steelers. And when you sit back and you're able to watch this and you're like, well, why aren't they doing this? That worked. Why stop what's working? I mean, I reflect back to this college game I was watching. I can't remember because I watched so much football getting ready for this draft. One team just threw a tight end pass over the line, kept on doing it. He did it 3 times before the defense stopped it. Why change up if something's working, right? And then you put all the attention from the defense on this one play when you could open it up and do other things. It's quite embarrassing. In fact, that simple guy like me can create an offense or call offensive plays that will work when these guys are getting paid for it. And this is their life. I mean, this is their job and they're doing it.
Well, let me ask you this. I see some of the guys on the board. Joe Testa said John Gruden will be the answer. I don't know. He's been out of football a lot. I mean, for a while. That's not saying that Gruden is horrible or anything like that. But I don't know. I don't know about Gruden.
I don't think Gruden would want to come to Pittsburgh.
I don't think so either. How about Humberto says, how about Ben Johnson, the offensive coordinator for the Lions?
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah, but would he want to come over as offensive coordinator? This guy might be beckoning for a head coaching spot.
Well, here you go.
And he might be trying to get a head coaching spot in Pittsburgh.
Right. Now, think about this for a second. If you were Ben Johnson, okay, to come to an organization like the Pittsburgh Steelers and run their offense, right? Yeah, I know it's not a step down, but a step to the side. Think about this for a second. Mike Tomlin's only listed for another, 2 years on his contract. He signed a 3-year contract extension. I believe this past year counts as 1 year. So think about this. You come in, you learn the organization. You learn how to control what you want to do and how the direction you want your team to go in. Mike Tomlin resigns. Guess what? And we all know that Pittsburgh Steelers love to hire within. Guaranteed, he would want to wait those 2 years to show the Rooneys what he can do and the rest of the NFL and the AFC, because the NFC, that division is pretty tight. Come to the AFC and show his skills, show what he can offer, right? And then slide on into the head coaching position. And now he's the man in Pittsburgh, which we all know in the past 60 years, the Pittsburgh Steelers only had 3 head coaches. He could be the 4th, and he could continue that reign. And he's young. He's got the football IQ. He could run an offense. Look at what he did to the Detroit Lions. Detroit Lions were laughing stock in the NFL besides the Cleveland Browns.
Yeah.
And look what he did. We're talking if their head coach didn't make those stupid calls the last couple seasons and put their team in detriment, they could have a couple Super Bowls. But hey, he's a gambling, I guess. He's a head coach for a reason, whatever. But that would be a perfect fit for the Pittsburgh Steelers. Bring him in as an offensive coordinator and let him earn his way for head coaching. Just because you're good now doesn't mean, look at Arthur Smith. He was a head coach, right?
Yeah.
He couldn't even run an offense.
Yeah, I agree.
Just saying.
I agree. Hey, you know what? Like I said, Joe Testa, let me read Joe Testa. He said he works magic with QBs. That's his specialty. He'll be back this year or next. And whoever gets him will compete right away. He's been away from the coaching. Oh, he's talking about Gruden, but not far from football. I agree with that. And I agree with that.
He's very, very, very intelligent, John Gruden.
Oh yeah,
very passionate about football. I just don't see the fit in Pittsburgh. But hell, I mean, if he wants, if that's the case, I mean, if for some reason Mike Tomlin stepped aside and John Gruden, open arms, 100% open arms.
Yeah,
he's got a good track record. He's got a Super Bowl under his belt. He's got a couple. Come on, man, this guy would be a great fit if, in the event that Tomlin would step aside or the Rooneys decided to go another way. Yes, he would be. Thank you, Cincy Joe. But I also like the Ben Johnson more. I'd rather him come in offensive coordinator for a little bit and then take over when Mike Tomlin retires.
Yeah, I agree 100%. Also, you know what? Let me get this one more in, and I also want to get. I got a couple more guys I want to get in as well before the end of the hour. Especially we got a Buffalo Bill lover. Oh, but anyway, let's get it in. What about Terrell Austin? Terrell Austin, defensive.
Oh my God,
coordinator.
You know what? Listen,
defensive coordinator for the Pittsburgh Steelers.
I was enjoying the show until you brought him up. Wow, just punch me in the face next time.
Give me. What's your thought? Should we keep him or let him go?
Goodbye. Goodbye. I mean, it really sucks. It really sucks for him. It's not really his fault, I guess. It's just that when you're following all these great defensive coordinators, I keep on throwing Dick LeBeau out there. I keep on throwing out there because he is one of the best, if not the best, defensive coordinators. How you could mask in your defensive. This guy comes out there, he might as well be like the college team, hold up the boards on the side saying, here's the defense we're calling. It's just, I don't understand why nobody's calling him out on this. I don't. And I don't understand why all the emphasis is based on the offense. The defense is just pathetic. I mean, there's no identity. I mean, you put TJ Watt out on freaking Lost Island out there, expect him to perform miracles every play when he's double, triple teamed and held on almost every play. And the defense has no scheme, no game plan, no direction, nothing to perform. And like we talked about this earlier on the show, Sanders, how did we win all these games? We won defense, right? Splash plays. That's it. Creating turnovers. That's it. There was no, like, if you watch any of the games of the Pittsburgh Steelers, these teams just walked down the field and just walked all over us. How many times have we played teams that scored on the opening drive? How many? Pretty much everyone, right?
Yeah.
And you can't wait till the second half to decide, hey, we need to play some football, right?
Yeah.
We need somebody who's going to stop teams, right? Right. And he is not the guy to do it. You rely too heavily on these splash plays. And when they don't happen, look, folks, 4-game losing streak and a 5th, one and done in the playoffs, because we expect TJ Watt to come up with a big strip sack. We expect Minkah Fitzpatrick to get that pick 6, and he's been non-existent. Why? Because nobody's throwing in his direction.
Yeah.
Because these quarterbacks, these offensive-minded teams know how to play football, and they know how to dissect the Steelers' defense. Gone. Bye.
So you say done with him.
Not even a defensive backs coach, because you take a defensive backs coach, you change him and put him into the defensive coordinator position, and our secondary is one of the worst secondaries in the NFL. That's horrible. That's horrible. If you can't coach your secondary, how do you expect to coach the whole defense? It can't happen.
All right. Calm down. Easy.
I'm hungry. I'm hangry. I'm hangry.
You're hangry.
I'm
all
hangry.
right. You know what? I see him on anyway, so we're gonna do him a little early. I'm gonna bring him in. It's, you know, this guy, let me tell you this. Let me get a background. This guy is a phenomenal football lover. He loves the Buffalo Bills, and one thing he loves about the Buffalo Bills is he says they're going to the Super Bowl. He says no matter what, they're going to the Super Bowl. But he also is very knowledgeable in football. So I want to find out from him a little bit about what he thinks the Steelers should do. Should Tomlin stay? Should he go? And, what other moves he sees us making, especially one of them should be Pickens. Should we keep Pickens or let him go? So, you know what? There we go. I got my brother on. We got him. Josh Allen, the GOAT. What's going on, man?
What's up, buddy? Can you hear me okay?
Oh yeah, we got you good. We got you good.
He's not the Bills Mafia, is he?
Huh?
Should be scared.
No, he wants to be part of Bill Mafia.
Should
You
be
got to be
scared.
careful with this dude.
No, I want to see this guy. I want to see this guy. I want to see him break a table. I want to see him jump on a table,
Jump on a table.
eating a chicken wing, pounding a Jenny Light. That'd be beautiful.
That's when you know he's a part of it.
There you go, pal. Welcome to the show. Nice to meet you.
Thanks, man. Appreciate you guys having me on. Listen, I don't know about the knowledgeable part, but I'll agree with everything else you said. Okay.
Well, let me ask you this.
With my limited knowledge, I'll do my best to help out.
All
Go
right.
ahead.
Now, me and you talk a lot, and the thing about it is that your thing about it is you say what about the Pittsburgh Steelers? Tomlin. What is your assessment on Tomlin? Should he stay with the Pittsburgh Steelers? Should he go? Well, I mean, what do you think?
I think you guys need a complete reset from top to bottom. Honestly, everybody's got to go. It sounds like Tomlin did his thing. He's a great coach by all means. Obviously, he's well respected around the league. Every team is gonna probably, as soon as he resigns or gets fired, whatever the case is gonna be chasing him to be their head coach. That obviously put that aside. But as far as Steelers is concerned, I think he's done his time. It's time for a complete rehaul. Your offensive coordinator, defensive coordinator, special teams, everybody's gonna go. Bring in somebody fresh, start from the top, and just reset everything. In my opinion.
You know what? It's really tough. It's really tough. You make a lot of sense. Unfortunately, you're a Bills fan, but no, I mean, if you look outside the box,
yeah,
right?
That's what I'm saying. You got to get a form of opinion outside of the box,
right?
And and that's why I brought guys like him on
for sure.
Like I said, he watches football. He knows football. He like I said, his only problem is that he's a Bills fan, but I try to talk him out of that eventually. But like I said,
he should bring some chicken wings over.
I know, and a table. But the thing about it,
got to put the chicken wings on.
But you do have to take a look at from the outside just to see, me being a Steeler fan. You know what? I'll make it. Once in a while, you will make excuses for your team. Well, we're doing this, well, we're doing that. But people are looking at it from the outside are saying, you know what, dude, you need to let it go. Because sometimes you don't recognize it. You're in a bad relationship, like we might be with Tomlin. And we just won't let it go, and that's what we're getting from a lot of people out there. Maybe it is time for Tomlin to go.
Listen. Eventually, the Bills are almost in a similar spot, so I'll tie it back to the Bills a little bit, right? So, right now you have McDermott, who's I think is the most winningest coach in the Bills history. Made it to playoffs, crushed the division for the last 4 or 5 years, whatever the case is. Every year you're in the playoffs, you're crushing somewhat of the competition that you have in your division, which is, let's just say, a lack of, right? I mean, they're not whatever. So every year you win a playoff game, you go to the championship, and then boom, you fall down on your face. Now what? Do you keep going after that? Or as an organization, do you sit back and you go, is he the one to get over the hump? Or is he not? Eventually, if you don't get to the Super Bowl and you win the Super Bowl, you could do whatever you want to do. You could win the division, 10 years in a row. It doesn't mean anything. In the end, you got to come back with the trophy. And he hasn't done it yet. So is it this year? I hope so. And I'll tie it back to my thoughts on behind why I think it's this year, right? So I think we have all the pieces in the right locations, starting from O-line to these misfit receivers that we have that are nobody, that are actually stepping up.
I'll give you that.
Helping Josh Allen. Obviously, Josh Allen is being beyond Josh Allen this year in a different category, in my opinion, who I think is the MVP, by the way.
I was about to get into that.
Yeah, we'll talk about that in a second. Right. You opened up a Pandora's box right now.
Right. So I think this year is our year. Our defense is playing good, not phenomenal. I don't think we have the top defense, but we're playing good enough. We're letting a lot of points. We're giving up a lot of points, but we're scoring enough to win. That's the key, right? So as long as you score more than you're getting scored on, it's a win in my book. And I think we've been scoring over 30 points a game consistently for some time now. So and I think the path to Super Bowl is there. And I'll tie it into next week if you guys want, or I'll stop talking. I could go on forever, but just let me know.
Well, sure. So when Josh Allen, like you said, you brought him up, he's a great quarterback. I mean, he's pretty much one of the quarterbacks that anybody would want on their team. He's big, he's fast, he's got the football IQ. I mean, strong arm, try to tackle him. It's kind of hard. This is the guy you want. However, Josh Allen is a quarterback who will lose you games too. And you as a Bills fan, you know a lot about this. When he tries to do too much, he throws interceptions, he fumbles the ball, he tries to win for the team. It's not like, look at me, this is all about me. But do you foresee that this may be a possibility moving forward in the playoffs where Josh tries to put the team on his back like he has in the past? And by doing so, he's lost games. Do you see that as a problem moving forward?
There's a chance that, Spotlight Josh, as I like to call it, comes out. It's always there. I think the chance is there, but I don't foresee it happening. And I'll tell you why. If you look at all the games that he has played this year, you can see the growth, right? There's obviously a huge improvement from last year, obviously multiple years over, but specifically this year. If you look at his pocket and when he obviously takes a step back and he goes through his progression, there's always that chance that he's gonna make a mistake or throw it into double coverage or whatever. But he has not done that this year. And if you look at some of the plays, he actually checks down 2, 3, 4 times and goes to his running back who's to the right, waiting for like a small pass or something like that, right? And usually in the past, he usually forces that ball into a double coverage or goes to a Hail Mary play, whatever the case is. And you could also tell just by the interceptions that he's thrown this year is tremendous improvement from last year to this year. So that tells me that he's not really forcing it. He's actually taking care of the ball. So
and I could attribute that to the offensive line. Buffalo Bills have at least this year, they have one of the best offensive lines in the NFL, and it shows. The record. James Cook, Ray Davis, whoever you got running the football back there, they always have open holes. They always have areas where they can run and spread things out. And like you said, if Josh Allen has a lot of time to throw the ball, like last game, he's like tuck and run. But last game, a good point that he sat back there and he was checking down his receivers, and as a last resort, he would run. So I would attribute that to your offensive line. If they have a meltdown, if they break down, I think you might have to see Josh Allen try to carry the team and go negatively. I mean, because I'm not a Bills fan, so I'm trying my best to look at it from my side how I want them to lose. You know what I mean? But I don't think it's happening. I don't think it'll happen. But as long as that O-line stays tough, and I think the Bills have a great chance at advancing against the Ravens. If
he sneaks out of the pocket, whatever the case is, even the pocket collapses in, right, he's going to climb out, either beat you with his legs. If he scrambles to the right, it's a wrap. So might as well just leave, because I know he's going to find somebody at the end. Scrambling to his left is the best possible option for you as a defense. So you want to make him go to his left versus to his right. Again, to the right, might as well just give up. It's a wrap. To the left, I mean, some of the passes that he throws across his body is just mind-boggling, right? But true. There's always that chance. Otherwise, I mean, how do you contain the guy? Because he can do everything.
Now here's the question that I wanted to ask you right here. Now, let me see if I can blow this up. There we go. So we have MVP. You pick it. Now, I mean, a lot of people out there are trying to wonder who should be the top go-getter at MVP. Lamar Jackson, like I said, you look at the stats over there, 4,172 yards passing, 3,731 yards passing. The completion averages right there, 66 for Lamar, 63 for Josh Allen, 915 yards rushing for Lamar Jackson, 531 for Josh Allen, 41 touchdowns to 28, 4 interceptions to 6, both of them low interceptions. And what was the last one? I believe that was rushing touchdowns. 4 rushing touchdowns for Lamar Jackson, 12 for Josh Allen. Now, I mean, now don't get me wrong. Now I know you're a Bills fan. So give me what's your thought process? Who should be MVP and give it to me why?
Well, before you answer that question, you left out a player.
Who?
You left out. You're comparing quarterbacks. And let me give you some numbers here. All right. Let me give you some numbers. And then we'll go based upon statistics.
Okay.
All right.
Okay.
Let me give this quarterback threw for almost 5,000 yards, 43 touchdowns, only 9 interceptions with a passer rating of 108.5. Blows those other 2 guys away.
Right.
So statistically, this quarterback, if you're going on stats, should be the MVP, correct?
Is that Joe?
There you go. Joe Burrow, Cincinnati Bengals, who got screwed by the Chiefs. Anyways, I don't understand how this team, besides their slow start at the beginning, made it to the playoffs. Now, getting back to the MVP award, right? Is it based on statistics? See, this is why this award is so horrible, right? It is. Is it based on statistics, or is it based on the value of the player of the team? What player does best? Who makes his team better on that team? That's why I say the MVP, most valuable player, should be the person most valuable to the team necessarily. That's my thought. But giving those statistics, you still going to say Josh Allen?
I would always say Josh Allen.
Oh,
I mean,
okay.
again,
You know,
listen,
I wouldn't expect anything else. Sure.
I'm biased. However, I will give you my personal opinion on, just through the middle, of course, right? So,
Sure.
listen, if we go off with stats, right, and I agree with you 100% that it's most valuable player, right? It's that guy that brings up the team and everybody else around them that much, and obviously makes everybody else better around them, right? So I will give you this. So if you take Josh Allen, right, out of the equation, out of the Bills, and you put in, I don't know, give me another mediocre quarterback that you guys think is a good, decent quarterback through the middle. Anybody? Put Russell Wilson. We'll put Russell Wilson. So if we put Russell Wilson onto the Bills this year without Josh Allen, do you guys think Buffalo gets to where they are today with their record?
No. You're right. I agree.
But if you look at Russell Wilson's stats, he played half the season and he almost threw for 3,000 yards.
No, but he has a legitimate point.
Sure,
there,
absolutely, 100%.
He would definitely be further in the playoffs. I think Pittsburgh would with a quarterback like that. What is the difference?
What about a non-quarterback like a Saquon Barkley who ran over 2,000 yards on only 345 carries, 33 touchdowns?
I agree with 100%, but it's MVP always. This is why I don't agree that MVP should always be a quarterback. I had a conversation back a couple of years ago. My friend down the road, Jay, who's a huge Rams fan. Back then, Cooper Kupp got the Triple Crown. I believe Rodgers ended up getting the MVP. I'm looking at it like, this guy got the Triple Crown. It hasn't been done in like over 15, 20 years or whatever. This guy should be the MVP, not some quarterback who can throw for 30, whatever, 3,000, 4,000 yards, whatever the case is. I disagree with that. Cooper Kupp should have got it back then as a wide receiver. And this year, the MVP race should have been, if you're gonna call it a quarterback, it should be between Joe Burrow and Josh Allen. I'm going to take Lamar out of the equation. And the reason why I'm taking Lamar out of the equation, because he has a stacked team, dude. Stacked. Just look at the Pro Bowl and all-pro team that he's got around him. I mean, Henry's enough. Give me Henry all day. I mean, that guy just runs over people, and he's got that much help, that many wide receivers. I would expect him to be where he is today. Now, he's a phenomenal player. I love watching him. He's fun to watch. But I expect Ravens to be where they are today. That is not surprising for me. If you would have told me that this year or middle of the year or beginning of the year, Ravens are in the playoffs, Henry ran for 1,500 yards, Lamar is this or whatever the case is. Great coach, great scheme, obviously. amazing football team. This exactly everybody expect them to be where they're at. Beginning of the year, everybody expected Buffalo Bills to be either the second or the third in their division, not anywhere near close to where they are today because of they have nobody. Look at the wide receivers. We're throwing to a 6th rounder, you know. That's kudos to our coaching, obviously, to your point. That's kudos to our O-line, right? So that's kudos to the Superman himself, Josh Allen. And that's one of the reasons why he's MVP.
Yeah, and plus putting the ball where it can be caught. That helps out a lot.
Yeah, he
You know,
does.
unlike our quarterbacks who throw the ball up and hope our receivers catch them. There's a big difference.
Well, let me ask you this. Before I let you go, because I got one more call at the end of the night, but I want to get your thought on give me a score, Buffalo Ravens.
High scoring game. If Buffalo Bills plays like they play against Denver, we are definitely crushing. I wouldn't say crushing. We are beating Ravens. I'm going to go 35-28 Bills with 2 things. Keep Lamar in pocket, have him throw the ball, no scrambles, hit Henry before the line of scrimmage. If Henry hits the line of scrimmage and clears out of there, it's a wrap. You can't stop the guy. He's gone. So you have to get to him before he gets to the second progression. If you could do those 2 things, it's a wrap. And it's a home game. It's going to be 8 degrees. It's going to be pretty cold. Lamar is not used to, anybody else is not used to playing in that very, very cold weather. So 35-28 Bills.
There you have it.
I'm writing it down.
The magic pen.
What you said, 35?
28 Bills. And what did I say? The Bills and the Broncos game was 35-14, right? Is what I said?
You did.
Pretty close.
Hey, that's my man. Like I said, coming on, still a nation, wearing the Bills stuff. Didn't bring no wings or no tables, but he brought knowledge. And my brother, hey, I appreciate you stopping by, man. Much love. Love the way you came on the show.
Yeah, you better be nice to him. He's gonna vandalize your house and car.
That's true with those tables.
Jesus.
All right, my brother.
I got you guys next time. I appreciate you guys having fun. This is a lot of fun. Thank you.
Absolutely. Thanks for coming on. Nice to meet you.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Like I said, we get them from all over the place. Hey, we still got it. We let me read this real quick. Joe Testa said this is Lamar's legacy game. Ravens win 31-20. Much better running game and defense. Another heartbreak for the Buffalo Bill fans. Woo!
Wah, wah, wah.
I don't know whether to take that from Joe or not. Remember, Joe just had on another hat. But
yeah, he had the Bills hat on. I don't understand it.
Hey, guys, before we go for the end of the night, we had to save it for the best. We had to save it for Cowboy Kenny.
Oh, fellas. What's going on?
Hey, sorry to wake you up.
Oh, no, I'm good.
Yeah, he was on there all the time. Hey, Cowboy Kenny, now you seen. We brought on Steelers. I had to let you feel the effect of how they stifled the Cowboys in that second half. And, you know, if it wasn't for you guys paying off our quarterback, Neil O'Donnell, it would have been a different story. I mean,
for sure. Yeah, absolutely. I mean, back to back.
I told you 1,000 times, man, that y'all beat us pound for pound in that Super Bowl.
He did.
And I always say it. We got the ring. I'm just going to say we got 5. Y'all got 6, but we got that one. And you're only as great as your last Super Bowl, okay? Just remember that.
So let me ask you this. Next year, is it going to be your year this time for real?
I don't know. There's
While
a lot of things that's going on in the world today.
Hey, so
I just don't know.
You guys need a head coach now. Who are you going to grab? What's
grabbing Tomlin, man? We're getting Tomlin.
You have a better chance of him coming over and coaching the Cowboys. Come on, man.
He's right, though. Did you hear what Jimmy Johnson said that? He said that
listen.
They should switch. We should get McCarthy and they should get
Tomlin. Yeah, the guy that they got rid of, the guy they fired. Oh yeah, let's make a swap, right? That makes a lot of sense. Okay. That makes a lot of sense.
But Cowboy Kenny, let me ask you this.
Listen, before I forget, too, they couldn't afford Tomlin if they wanted to, because I'll tell you what, you guys couldn't spend $1 million extra to get Derrick Henry, and you think you could put all this money on Mike Tomlin? I don't believe it.
Wow.
Just saying. I know it hurt.
Good
I'm
point.
sorry.
Good
sorry.
point.
But if you don't have that much money to get Derrick Henry, you are not going to get Mike Tomlin.
Yeah,
There's no way.
That was a bad move.
You could discount Mike Tomlin right here.
Well, we might get prime time.
You get Timu.
If we don't get Tomlin, we'll settle for prime time.
I got Timu Mike Tomlin right
here.
Timu.
Hey, well, let me ask you. Do you think we should? I mean, your honest opinion. You're on the outside looking in. Just like you seen the other guy before you, Buffalo Bill. So let me ask you this: Should we let Tomlin go? Who should we let go? Should we let Pickens go? What do you think should happen in Pittsburgh? Just looking at the outside.
Well, y'all always do get those diva receivers. It's a thing. Antonio Brown. They get in that position and they, Lynn Swan. Let's go back.
Yeah, but Lynn Swan caught the ball.
That's true.
Yeah, on
just
Dallas
saying,
too. In the Super Bowl.
Oh yeah,
I'll never forget that catch.
Acrobat. Yeah. He took ballet classes. What do you expect?
Exactly. But yeah. I think it's tough, but it's kind of like with Belichick. It's like when a person becomes so ingrained in what they're doing, and then they lose a vantage point from other places that see things that they don't. It's kind of like, you gotta open your eyes wider, or it's gonna be more of the same stuff. Because for him not to go for it on that fourth down.
Yep.
And I know last game y'all went 3 times and you didn't get it. I get it. But still,
yes.
You gotta have some of that Detroit. What's Detroit's coach name?
Oh, I know exactly what you're talking about. Yeah. This guy goes for it on fourth down all the time.
All the time. That's my take on it. I think when you get caught up, you've been there 18 years and you've done things your way so long to where it's not producing the results that it once did. It's time to reevaluate and kind of restructure some things,
Yeah, I mean, the fall of Bill Belichick, because like I said earlier, this guy would take draft picks out of nowhere and make them superstars and Super Bowl heroes. And the reason why the downfall is because these younger, faster teams going in another direction. And they weren't including Bill Belichick in that. That's why, I mean, it wasn't surprising that he left, because like I just said before, he controlled everything. This is how I'm going to draft players. This is how I'm going to create players. This is how I'm going to form and mold them. But nowadays, everything's instant gratification. Everything is like now. And they didn't give time to develop these players. They want, just like the Pittsburgh Steelers, there's no time to develop these players. And they just throw them in there and they expect miracles. And when they don't happen, they chuck them aside and they try and grab somebody else. There's absolutely no more development in the NFL. It's like right now. And that's why you don't have dynasties. You don't have legacies anymore, because these guys like don't Cowboys, stay on. Right? They don't stay on the same team. They don't stay on the same team anymore.
Yep. I think Deion Sanders was that, man. He went where the money was.
That's it.
He started that. I think he was a big proponent of that.
Right. There's nothing wrong with making money, right?
Yeah.
But there's also called a word called loyalty. Okay. You're a team player. If that's the way you want to be, then stay there and win championships. You'll get paid. But you just can't go in there and say, like, I'm going to play out for the money. Oh, this team will go pay me more, so I'm going to leave. And then it's just Deion Sanders is like one of the few who went team to team and won championships.
And went to Super Bowls. Yeah.
Absolutely. Yeah. And Terrell Owens is another one.
Charles Haley is one. He went to San Francisco too.
Oh yeah, that's right. They were flip flopping back and forth.
For sure.
He was he won 6 of them.
Yeah, that's right. He did.
Yep.
Yeah, he was the first one to win 6, I think. Yeah. But I think Tomlin. Go ahead.
Yeah. About Tomlin.
I think Tomlin. I think things just restructuring is going to be good for you guys. I think because he's at a place. I think in some instances, I think he kind of lost the locker room, because for them not to get the first down, you know what I mean, and then for him not to go for it and then he says on national TV, "Well, we deserve to lose," which is true, but that's still your team. You gotta keep them in a light. Kind of like a positive light. So he probably lost some players when he said that too.
Yeah. Well,
some players' motivations. Yeah.
But the thing that kind of bothers me about going into next year with Tomlin, and if they keep him, fine, but make the moves you need to make to get it going some different direction. Even if you clear house, get an offensive coordinator, get a heck of a defensive coordinator, and go from there. But they got to make that move because he's going to catch a lot of backlash going into the season. From the fans.
Yeah, if nothing changes, you got to have changes.
Yeah.
So he knows. He knows he has to make that move. But
heads got to roll.
Yes. But one other thing I would ask you before I let you go, Cowboy Kenny, is who do you think is going to be the MVP winner, Lamar Jackson or Josh Allen?
For this year's production, if we're basing it on production, I'm just going to say probably Lamar, man.
You think so?
That's where I'm leaning toward based on production.
Yeah, because like now I'm listening to what you're saying. Because I hear what you're saying, and myself, I agree, but there are going to be a lot of guys out there, like we just heard earlier, the intangibles. You got Josh Allen playing on a team that has no, 6, like he said, I agree with that, 6-round receivers. He's got garbage receivers. He got rid of his 2 main receivers. They got rid of him, sending them other teams, and he really has no run game, and realistically, he is their only offense. I mean, if you look at it in that aspect, I don't know, James. I mean, what is
that's a good argument. Yeah, that's a good argument.
Well, the thing about Lamar, it sets him aside from everybody else, is the team he's on. And what I'm saying about the team he's on, he has a plethora of weapons. He's got a great running back, one of the best in the NFL, if not the best. And he's got a plethora of wide receivers and tight ends. So what can a defense do? You can't double up on anybody, right? So you have to play single coverage. You really can't. You have to have one guy back to spy on Lamar. And what you do is you send your guys deep, you spread out the middle, and then you run with the ball.
Yeah.
And then he runs with the ball because he can run, and it's really not fair to defenses. Like we didn't have a problem. We were 8-2.
He said it's not fair to defense.
We were 8.
We know.
But if you have a defense that knows their offensive style and can contain him, then you got to blitz him, keep him in the pocket, and then he won't have time to find his receivers or run. We stopped Derrick Henry twice out of 3 times, and we held him under 100 yards the first 2 games. We beat him with 6 field goals the last time we beat him. So it can be done, right? But you have to have a defense, and Buffalo doesn't have that defense anymore. So it's going to be tit for tat. And I'll give you my score in a little bit here, but this is what the Pittsburgh Steelers have to do. They have to find players and put them in the right positions and coach the right way. Like the Ravens are coached, the Bills are coached. I mean, it's just all these teams in the playoffs right now are well-coached teams in putting their players in spots to succeed and to excel. And unfortunately, that was our downfall of the Pittsburgh Steelers. We just gave up.
Ours too.
You ain't lying.
But it was your year, right?
Huh?
It was your year.
No. At the beginning of the season.
The Timu Cowboys.
No. At the beginning of the season, Tiz, what did I say?
Oh boy.
Yeah, yep. He did say he didn't think they were gonna make it.
No.
I said we might be 500.
Yeah, he did say that.
Yeah.
We might be 500. We didn't get any free agency. We gave all our draft choices going further back in the draft. We didn't do anything. We lost a ton of players to Washington. Washington's offensive line.
You did get Ezekiel Elliott back for a little bit, and then you cut him. That was fantastic.
Yeah, but he hasn't done anything since. He didn't even do anything in with the Patriots.
You took him over Derrick Henry.
Yeah, that was a bad move.
Don't remind me. Come on, man. Don't put it like that.
Well, look at us. I'll make you happy. I'll make you feel better right now. We passed over Lamar Jackson to get Terrell Edmonds.
Yeah. That was bad. That hurt bad.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Who?
Exactly.
Terrell Edmonds.
Yeah.
The brother of Edmonds that was on the Bills.
Yeah. Yep. And he nice with the
What?
Yeah. Yep.
Yeah. So let that sink in a little bit.
Hey, Cowboy Kenny, give us a score before we let you go. Bills, Ravens.
Oh, I'm going with the Ravens in that for all the things that I said, plus the things that you guys said about no defense and everything. I think it's about to be a thrashing. I do. I'm
Give me a
but I think the Bills. Well, you know what? I'm not going to put it like that. I'm talking thrashing in the sense of what their defense, because I think Josh Allen, he's got heart. I love that dude. He's got tenacity. He's got balls. You know, you don't see a lot of quarterbacks do what he can do.
Right.
And I love how he take chances and he'll get things done like he showed you last week. But while he's getting the points, other teams going to be getting the points. So it's going to be a back and forth thing. I think. Because I think unless Baltimore's defense kind of shuts him down.
Yep, like they did the first time in Baltimore.
Yeah, yep, like they did the first time, and I'm pretty sure Baltimore's going to win, and I think the score is going to be in the 40s.
Damn!
I want to say 42, say 35.
Damn!
Wow. Just give him a touchdown. I think Josh Allen can. He's got that thing. It just clicks on him. You know what I mean?
Oh yeah, he's
unlike Sam Darnold.
Oh Lord.
Kavon, wherever you at, Kavon. I don't know if you're watching this, but yeah, that's your guy, man.
That dude, you talk about a guy destroying his career in 2 games.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, well.
I don't even know.
Well, we got it. We wrote it down there, Cowboy Kenny. 42-35. Thanks for being patient. Thanks for waiting. Thanks for coming back on the show. You're the best.
Steeler Nation. That's what it's all about.
There you go.
You know it.
Steeler Nation, baby.
Yes. Nice.
Steeler Nation live.
Why do I think he's making fun of us? But all right.
No.
All right. So right before, we just want to thank everybody, our fans out there who are still listening or watching us on the show. Thank you. It was a bad season. Unfortunately, we didn't reach our goal of Super Bowl. But before we go, we just once again thank you. Have a safe, prosperous beginning of 2025. We hope to see you draft day, our draft show. My score, 38-35 Ravens. And here's what's going to happen. It's going to be tied. The Bills are going to be marching down the field to try and win it. Josh Allen turns it over. Justin Tucker kicks a 60-yard field goal to win the game with no time on the clock. 38-35 Ravens.
I'm giving you a score of 34-14 Ravens. Control the game and control the game with the run.
You have it.
So there you go, guys. Another season in the books for Steeler Nation Live. So make sure you stay tuned with us and make sure you stay with us with the draft show we got coming up in April. So we want to make sure you guys always know that we love Pittsburgh and also we appreciate other guys from other teams as well. And as you see, and the guys calling in, thanks again. We appreciate you guys as well. So from Sanders Tisdale,
James Owen,
2024 season in the books for Steeler Nation Live. 2025 coming up. See ya.